chance.
don't like Britain sending people over to Rwanda to deal with our asylum problem. Why are you happy for France to do it?
Because I think that, before we left the European Union, you may remember, we had this thing called the Dublin Agreement, and if somebody had a decision made in Europe saying that they weren't entitled to asylum...
That's not the one in, one out.
Wait a minute, then when someone came over to the UK, we were able to send them back. Unfortunately, Boris Johnson, when he negotiated leaving the European Union on Christmas Eve, he didn't actually deal with that at all. So rather than us taking control of our borders, we've ended up with a situation whereby the French are not prepared to take anyone back. Now we've got this pilot in which we are saying we will return someone, and then someone who has an overwhelming right to come to this country will be exchanged. And in that way, if people are coming and taking the mick, they know that they'll be sent back to France, whereas people who have family here already, and you're putting a Syrian family back together again, then they will have the right to come. That's
right. Let me just bring in Alva here. In terms of, over the summer, we have seen Reform UK and Nigel Farage, really talking about this issue almost every day, haven't they? And this response from Yvette Cooper, do you think this is going to be acceptable to her own MPs, and do you think it's going to fend off Reform UK?
Well, I think that's the problem, really, the way you described it as a response to Farage there, because I think you speak to Labour politicians privately, and I think that I don't think people have a massive problem with this in particular, but I think that they worry that in general the response from the Home Office over the past few weeks has looked quite reactive, because we've had Nigel Farage giving these press conferences every week and really setting the terms of the news agenda. Like, it's not like there was nothing coming out from the Conservatives and the government was still putting out policy positions, but nothing like on the scale of reform. And we've ended up just talking about asylum hotels and sort of the Labour government running from Farage attack lines all summer, really. And I think inside the Labour Party there's a huge amount of frustration about that actually, why can't the government, which is the government, make its own weather? Make a big policy announcement on this or on something else, and then ask Farage whether he would be doing that, ask the Conservatives, ask the Lib Dems, set the conversation in that way. I think the problem is you've had such a bold policy proposal from Farage now that this all looks...
Mass deportations.
Mass deportations, it all looks kind of reactive and small in comparison. It's a really difficult issue, but actually maybe part of the response needs to be not just announcements from the Home Office, but other big, bold policies.
So you're nodding there.
Labour's not really getting to that level.
Do you think the government's being too reactive?
I think the